to Ministry of Offence, the show that hijinks the news till it squirts from both ends. I'm your host, Stephen Allen, and I'm going to start with a quick recap of the news you might have missed this week. Comedian Dave Chappelle was attacked on stage by an audience member at the Hollywood Bowl. There were gasps from the crowd as LAPD officers took to the stage to help a black man. Chappelle was just wrapping up the show, which suggests the attacker was both committed and thrifty. I want to get this guy, but only after I've had my money's worth. Maybe the lesson here is that we all need to calm down and take a step back. The story certainly made me decide to be less judgmental in future of people I don't know, even pricks like you. Boris Becker has been imprisoned for tax evasion. Boris is hoping for a single cell, as apparently he's desperate to avoid being seated. Wealthy Cabinet Minister George Eustice has suggested struggling families switch to value brands to survive the cost of living crisis. It was pretty revelatory stuff. Apparently next week he's going to suggest getting longer out of boiled sweets by leaving the wrappers on. It may seem a little lacking in empathy, as being told frugal eating tips by a man of his means is a bit like getting advice on foreplay from Edward Scissorhands. We must remember he is a busy man. As Minister for Rural Affairs, he has to stop Neil Parish dry humping any sexy tractors. The problem is, what if you already buy own brand stuff? What's the next step down? Roadkill? Cannibalism? Lidl? Following more revelations, there's been calls for compulsory training for MPs on sexism and harassment. Waste of money. They're pretty adept at both. I suspect Neil Parish is only the sticky tip of that particular iceberg, as soon there'll be another expenses scandal. If you frowned at luxury hotels and duck house repairs, just wait till you see claims for 2 metric tons of Kleenex. Was Neil Parish looking at porn or tractors? With his country upbringing, I suspect there's a bit of overlap. There's a term for people who are turned on by stuff to do with farming: hedgerosexual. And that's your weekly roundup. Time to get on with the show. Of course, no panel show is complete without panellists, so let's meet our teams. Our captain for the right is a comedian who's not yet been attacked on stage, though surely it's just a matter of time. It's Leo Kearse. And his teammate is a Britain's Got Talent survivor who mesmerised Amanda Holden, and just with his jokes, he didn't need a mirror or a stack of 50s. It's Nick Dixon. And facing them tonight is the captain of the left team, who played a Victorian ghost on a Netflix show, or as Jacob Rees-Mogg would call it, porn. It's Diane Spencer. And her teammate is a free speech advocate who passionately believes we should all have the right to offend. It's dull-headed, whiny wingnut Andrew Doyle. So here at Ministry of Offence, we ask our teams to tell us which minister they would like to be. So Diane, I'm going to start with your team. What are you the minister of?
Well, I am the shadow minister for Megxit opportunities. Now that Meghan Markle's had her Netflix series cancelled, we think the government should step in and help her find more opportunities where she can get multi-million-pound deals for content she's never going to produce.
Lovely. And Andrew?
I'm going to be the minister of retired tennis players who've turned to crime. I'm actually loving the Boris Becker thing. I think it might set a precedent. I'm sort of hoping that Sue Barker might go down for ram raiding or something like that.
I think these tennis players, a lot of them have some kind of racket.
Hey! They're always going to court.
I get it. Oh, I get it. Yeah. And over to this team. Leo, what are you going to be the minister of?
I am going to be the Minister of Women's Reproductive Rights. In America, the Supreme Court is planning on banning abortion for women, which is going to be difficult because they don't actually know what a woman is. But at the moment, in America, up until 24 weeks, you can get an abortion. And at 24 weeks, the baby's not just viable, it's got a TikTok account and it's vaping. So, some people in America want to bring that down, and other people are saying, no, we want to, kill lots of babies. So basically, as a compromise, I'm suggesting that you don't really know if a fetus should be aborted until it is about 20 years old. So I'm suggesting, we have it just between the ages of 20 and 22. You're not allowed to kill fetuses, but you can kill people between the ages of 20 and 22. And it's not up to the mother anymore. It's up to me. I go around with a shovel, and if I see somebody chewing with their mouth open or using the phrase hollybobs, then I can just whack them on the head with a shovel. The left-wing mother can do a social media post about how she's found it empowering, and we can all get on with our lives.
Okay, Nick?
Hello everyone, I'm Nick. I'm the Minister for Self-Isolation. I know that sort of ended, but I decided to carry it on just on my own. I've been self-isolating for years anyway, guys. It wasn't always called that, but it was just called mental illness. But honestly, I've been washing my hands obsessively, trying not to leave the house, trying not to socialise. Everyone said I was a loser. Turns out I'm a pioneer, all right?
Now that's the introductions out of the way. I think it's high time we got this show on the road. So it's time for our first round, which is clickbait. Yes, our first round is clickbait, where we give each of our guests a news story and task them to come up with a headline. In true tabloid style, these headlines need to be punny, funny or downright sensational. Basically anything that's going to draw you in as clickbait. OK, let's start with the left this week. Diane, I'm coming to you first with this story. A £500 pet pig has saved the life of his US Navy veteran owner after his home caught ablaze. Gilbert Anea said his pig Hamilton, who is trained to open and close doors, gave him extra time to escape his burning home by shutting the garage door as he fled. What can you do with that?
Veteran's bacon saved by pork chop. All right, give me a moment. He didn't die. This could have been versed. All right. The pig is fat. Body positive pig brings out hot semen. Thank you.
Well, I was thinking smoky bacon. But I don't understand it. Like, it says the man trained the pig to open and close doors. That's quite a feat. But if you're going to do that, why didn't you just train it to use a fire extinguisher?
But also, the pig closed the door after the pig left. It's not like it calls it. It says that it saved his life, but it hasn't.
No, it was trying to kill him.
Yeah, the pig left and shut the door. You're on your own, mate.
What about sows about that then?
I love that. 500 pounds of pork sausages can be good for your health.
It's such a stupid story. What about tabloid journalist overslept?
Nice. Any thoughts from this team?
What about just pigs might fry? Right? Yeah, it's good. Or pigs might not fry, since he didn't in this particular case.
Because he was in the Navy, wasn't he?
The man, not the pig.
The man, yeah. Well, we don't know the gender of the pig. We haven't had a look at its Twitter account yet, so we can't see.
We're not biologists.
We're not biologists or veterinarians.
Is that how Scottish people pronounce veterinarian?
Veterinarian. That's the word. I looked at it in a book, it's veterinarian.
But it's the word slowed down like you're Neo in the Matrix.
Well, how do you say that? The English people are always like, you got a place called Leicester, and you're like, Leicester.
It's like, no, it's Leicester. You sound like you've had an accident and you're learning how to read again and speak.
We're on the same team, Nick.
Yeah, but I'm just helping you. We need to be better so we can beat the left.
How about, because it's like Tinder's something that burns, and the pig must have done some sort of motion like that to shut the door. So fat pig swipes right on Tinder.
That's not bad. That's actually clever. That's actually clever, but in a newspaper you can't explain the setup first, can you? So they wouldn't get you. You explain the joke before you did it.
Don't ruin my moment of sunshine, Nick.
Sorry.
Let's move on to the blue team, and here's Leo's story. South Korea has criminalised the sending of balloons stuffed with anti-Pyongyang propaganda into North Korea, ending a practice that's gone on for decades. The balloons often fail to make it over the border and end up causing pollution inside South Korea, while Kim Jong-un's sister, Kim Yo-jong, has called balloon senders human scum. What can you do with that?
Well, she's wrong about that. Human scum is what you get round the edge of the bath. That's what human scum is. And I think we really need to address why Kim Jong-un's parents gave him and his sister the same name. Both called Kim. That must have been confusing at dinner time. How about South Korean government tackles inflation?
Very good.
How about last remaining fun thing banned from North Korea? We can't even have a balloon. How about soulless balloons banned from North Korea, but it's Seoul like the capital city Seoul? Yeah? Yeah, sort of, you go, oh, not funny, but sort of clever. Yeah, that's where I like to work, in that area. I could just be an actual newspaper writer. That's my problem. I'm too good.
That would be a career change.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of after
career
this.
change.
Oh, career.
Hey!
Oh, I got it. I didn't even get that. I was like, yeah, I should change career.
How about Kim Jong-un's goons harpoon balloons?
That sounds like a Robbie Burns poem.
That sounds like somebody drowning in Angel Delight.
I think it's interesting that they use balloons, but I guess it's because when they sent over carrier pigeons, they never made it back from the north.
Yeah. Well, the balloons it's quite a sweet way to wage a war. Like that's how the Care Bears would fight. Send some balloons over. Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's leaflets disseminating details of the state apparatus and its tyranny and the way in which it controls people's thought and lives.
Catchy.
The balloons are rubbery, so when they land in North Korea, they go Pyongyang.
Lovely stuff. Let's head back to the left. Andrew, here's your story. Apple employees are revolting against plans to return to the office 3 times a week after Tim Cook, Apple's CEO, proposed hybrid working. In an open letter, an anonymous group of staff known as Apple Together said needing to go to work 3 times a week would make Apple younger, whiter, more male-dominated and more able-bodied. And that move was driven by fear. What can you do with that?
So I don't know what hybrid working is. Is that like when you go to work on a centaur? So that is a Greek mythology joke. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to do more of them. I'm going to do stuff about Clytemnestra later on. It's a story about Apple turning against their employees. So it could be golden malicious.
Nice, nice. Well, the CEO is called Tim Cook, so Apple crumble, Cook under fire.
Why are they saying that work will be more male-dominated if you have work-from-home rules?
Because ladies will be more likely to stay at home because we love cleaning.
That's the implication, isn't it? That, women are lazy.
No,
the
implication is just it takes them ages to leave the house.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, this does not happen in 2 minutes, mate. Yeah.
How about Steve No Jobs?
Yes.
If only you hadn't have died, that would have been so much stronger. You're really the victim of that guy's death.
These people sound Scottish to me. This desire, this incredible drive to go to any lengths to avoid going into a place of work and doing some work instead of just getting some money for free. So I think that's why it's called the MacBook.
Wow. Really? No, I just thought you got a clap for that. My jobs one was better, but you're right. We're on the same team.
I love that you're competing with each other. That's what. Because the right just drive themselves apart. We don't have to do anything.
We're Darwinist individualists, survival of the fittest.
Wonderful stuff. Let's see what Nick does with his final story.
Oh.
An intruder spent the night at the barracks with royal guardsmen who protect the Queen in Windsor, pretending to be a priest. The man conned his way into the officers' mess. He allegedly spent the night eating and drinking before being offered a bed for the night, despite having no ID. In a statement, the army said it takes this breach of security extremely seriously. Nick, what you got with that?
Yeah. Harry finds way back into royal family.
Any thoughts from over here?
I don't understand. So a man dressed as a priest got to sleep in the barracks for the night with the royal guardsmen, and you're telling me that's not the plot of a low-grade porn film?
I was going to say, it sounds like you're thinking of trying it.
Oh my God, if that's what it takes to shack up with guardsmen, I'm going to get myself a dog collar.
You've already got one.
Of course I've already got one. It's at the dry cleaners. I think it's mad that just because he was dressed as a priest, they trusted him. Like, I went to Catholic school, it would be the opposite. If it was just populated by people who went to Catholic school, they would have chucked their bayonets at him or whatever.
Well, splendid work. Those were all great, but there can be only one winner for this round, and the winner is the red team.
What? stop. It's rigged.
Now it's time for a break. We'll be right back after this.
My name is Andrew Doyle. Join me every Sunday evening at 7 p.m. for Free Speech Nation. This is a show where we address current affairs and news stories of the week with the help of two wonderful comedian panelists. I brought in comics because I want to give it a lighter edge, and also they work for less. See you there.
Welcome back to Ministry of Offence. We're still here with Leo Kirst, Nick Dixon, Diane Spencer and Andrew Doyle. And it's time for our next round, Lie Detector. Our teams are shown some newspaper stories from this week and they must decide which parts of each story are true and which parts are false. This round's head-to-head, so it's fingers on buzzers, please. Can you spot the lie in this first story? A commuter delayed frustrated train passengers on a Roco line in Buenos Aires when he fell asleep in the toilet. Despite commuters banging on the door, they were unable to wake him. The train was reportedly delayed for 20 minutes while the sleepy passenger was rescued. What's the lies in there?
I think 20 minutes is quite a short time for a rescue. I've had cappuccinos that have taken longer than 20 minutes. So I think that's the lie. I think it took a lot longer.
I think it's not a toilet. I think it's like a luggage rack or something like that. Something confined like that.
Or it's the cabin. Maybe it's the cabin. It's not a commuter, it's the driver, and he fell asleep in his cabin.
Have you given me a sheep because I'm from Cumbria? Is that what that means? Anyway, yes. How about it wasn't delayed because he was asleep, it was because of Brexit, like everything bad that's happened ever. That's what they think over there.
So I reckon that it wouldn't be the toilet on a train, it would be the toilet on a plane because you have to be out.
Sorry.
I'm nearly done. But no, by all means, please let a man from the right talk over a woman on the left.
Just trying to get a word in. I reckon, if it was on a train toilet, you'd actually be revealed like a prize on a South American game show. That's what?
No, just interrupting you as well, just for balance.
Well, I can tell you the closest would have been Andrew. The correct answer is he didn't lock himself in a toilet. He fell asleep across the seats and trapped his head in an armrest. Moving on, can you spot the lie in this next story? Fingers on buzzers. A police force has spent £42,000 on custom-made uniforms for riot horses. The outfits, which cost £1,500 of taxpayers' money each, have been dubbed Clip Clop Clobber. The smart outfits are designed to raise the self-esteem of the horses when they appear at official ceremonies and services. But the purchasers have been branded a complete waste of money.
They say that the horses, it's to raise the self-esteem of the horses. That's not true. Horses are notoriously self-assured. Like, have you seen the way they prance about with like their heads up and all kind of, and they demand that people talk to them in whispers. I hate horses. I hate horses. Actually, I think they're just like less interesting unicorns.
Yeah.
Just hate them.
And do you know what? Because I agree with you. I think it's definitely not a horse. Horses do not have self-esteem issues. Dogs do. And dogs work with the police. And a dog is much more likely to be like, oh, I don't look as good as everybody else.
Yeah.
I honestly thought you were setting up the joke about horses are far more stable. Over here?
Good. How about... No, I think the lie is the police are going to spend 42,000, but they're going to spend it on solving proper crimes like stabbing. I'm just kidding. Obviously not going to happen.
I would say the maths don't add up because 42,000 and 1,500. 1,500 doesn't go into 42,000 unless they're being unfair to a particular horse and like he doesn't get a hat.
No, it's a little. It's one little Shetland pony.
Somebody on the left is trying to get Diane Abbott's job.
Nice.
Well, somebody needs to do it.
All good ideas. I can tell you, no one's got it right, I'm afraid. The correct answer is that they're not outfits for horses. A police force has spent, in fact, £42,000 on relaxation pods for officers to put their feet up. Seems a bit pricey. Surely they could just swap that nasty pepper spray for lavender and chamomile. OK, everyone, fingers on buzzers. Here comes the next lie-laden story. Ukraine's ambassador to Germany is hit out at German Chancellor Olaf Scholz over his criticism of Ukraine. Scholz said Ukraine's decision not to welcome the German president stands in the way of him travelling to Kyiv. The Ukrainian diplomat said it doesn't sound very statesmanlike to behave like a spoiled brat.
Yep, the whole story is a lie. Germany could never fall out with Europe.
It wasn't the Ukrainian ambassador and Olaf Scholz, it was Angelina Jolie criticising Madonna. Because Madonna should have come in by now and adopted all the children.
Yeah. And Madonna gets in there first and takes all the kids. And then when Angelina Jolie gets there, it's just ugly ones left.
No more ideas?
I have a funny feeling he didn't say spoiled brat. I have a funny feeling, if I remember this correctly, he's called him something like a liver sausage?
Is the correct answer. Yep, he didn't call the German Chancellor a spoiled brat, he called him an offended liver sausage. So here's your last lie detector story to get. Fingers on buzzers for this one. Boris Johnson has been slammed for trying to reverse Margaret Thatcher's ban on milk for over fives in schools. Critics accuse Boris Johnson of desperate stuff as he ordered officials to draw up a new scheme for children up to the age of 11 to receive a carton of milk during the afternoon break. What are the lies there?
Well, Margaret Thatcher didn't ban milk. She didn't ban it. You can still have milk in school if your parents, were rich enough to afford milk. Like she's not like King Midas turning the milk back at the tip of the udder. So that's the lie. Everybody's like, Margaret Thatcher banned milk. There's still milk. Add milk today.
No, but she stopped kids getting milk in schools. Kids who can't afford milk, she got them.
Leo doesn't know because Scotland, they still had free milk paid for by London.
Oh, I see.
It's not for children up to 11. It's for people with up to 11 children because Boris wants all his own kids to get free milk.
I'm going to make a guess. I think it's actually to do with being able to buy your own house. Because that was a policy that Margaret Thatcher had. The right to buy. And he's bringing it back so you have the right to buy your own housing association house.
Diane got the correct answer. It was, in fact, Margaret Thatcher's right to buy scheme that Boris suggested resurrecting. Due to inflation, though, now it's the right to buy your own urine-stained cardboard box. So, well done, and the winner of that round is the red team. Now it's time for our next game, Spin Doctors. In this round, one member from each team will take on the persona of a public relations specialist as they defend a public figure who's done something this week that was erroneous, fallacious, or just plain moronic. The right, you're up first. Who will you be spinning this week?
We're going to do Mr. Neil Parish, I believe.
OK, well, let's remind ourselves of this story.
Funnily enough, it was tractors I was looking at, and so I did get into another website that had a sort of very similar name, and I watched it for a bit, which I shouldn't have done. But my biggest crime, is that on another occasion I went in a second time.
And that was deliberately?
And that was deliberate.
Well, good luck. Take it away.
Well, clearly a great man. I mean, Neil Parish, as you probably know, was caught watching porn in the House of Commons, right? I don't mean that he was staring at Angela Rayner's legs. He was looking at actual porn, but we've all been there, right? Not literally in the House of Commons, but we've all watched porn. At least all men have watched porn, in my opinion, right? That's what I thought anyway. Then my friend said to me, she goes, oh, well, my husband's never watched porn. I do respect that. It takes discipline, doesn't it, to just lie to your wife every day. I mean, takes balls out, doesn't it? Empty balls. But anyway, of course, the problem with porn is that after a while, it gets boring and you've got to move on to like increasing levels of depravity, right? So I've been told by Leo. But that's the problem with porn. So you start off with something quite generic, like sexy maid, and then inevitably you end up with tractors. And it's totally normal. And so I want to defend Neil because Suella Braverman, the Attorney General, looked at this story and she said MPs are behaving like animals, which is totally unfair. For a start, animals don't watch porn, all right? They occasionally star in it, but they never watched it. And so I think that's very, very harsh. And also, people are going to blame Tories because it happens to be a Tory MP, but we all know it's just like with lockdowns. Labour would have done the exact same. Starmer would have called for even harder porn. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. And ultimately, I think there's no way Neil Parish should have had to leave his job, because watching porn is just natural for men. It's like worrying about hair loss or understanding movie plots. It's who we are. Okay. So that's my defence of Neil Parish, a great man. Thank you.
Yeah. And yeah, I'd like to add, Parliament is supposed to be representative, so it's good that those of us that are perverts are being represented in Parliament. And like Nick says, everybody masturbates at work. Nick's masturbating right now. Those are fake arms, and he's got his hands down there. And I think Neil, he's suffered a terrible stain on his character, on his character. And what I love about it is normally when MPs get caught doing something that they shouldn't be doing, they come out and say no. They come out with some ridiculous excuse like, no, I was looking at tractors, or I was trying to find corn hub. But what I love about Neil is he says the ridiculous excuse, like I was looking at tractors and I stumbled across this pornography. But then he also says, but I liked it, so I went back and I looked at it some more, and I can't wait to get to my garden shed tonight and look at it again.
Okay, let's see if any of that spinning has convinced the left.
I mean, he was the MP for Tiverton and Honiton, which is at least a 3-hour train journey. Could he not have just done the porn looking up on the train journey? He could have spent an hour looking at porn and then the other 2 hours walking around picking up all the official secrets documents that MI5 leave on the trains.
Okay, Diane, who will you be spinning this week?
We shall be defending Keir Starmer and Beergate.
Let's remind ourselves of the story.
We were working, it was days before the election. We paused for something to eat. There was no party, no rules were broken. There's nothing I can add to that.
Spin away.
Look, it's important that we defend Keir Starmer because he's completely incapable of doing it himself, so we've got to do it for him. Now, can I just say, this is not a gate. You have your Watergate, you have your Partygate. This is not Beergate. This isn't a gate. It's barely a cat flap. The Tories had a social event. The Labour Party had a works meal at the end of a long day. And when you look at the food, it clearly shows you the kind of voters they're sort of appealing to, because the Tories had a party they shouldn't have had, which had champagne and cake and wine and cheese in Downing Street. And the Labour Party had work curry with beer, and they probably shared a bag of Haribo. We know that Angela Rayner was there now, but I think he forgot because she didn't do her party trick.
Well, it can't be a party. Any room with Keir Starmer in it, by definition, cannot be a party, right? If you look at the definition of the word party, it's any area without Keir Starmer.
Well, let's see if that spinning convinced anyone on the right.
Well, do you know what? They, like you say, Keir Starmer can't defend himself, so you have done a better job. He went on Good Morning Britain and he said, guys, we were on the road, like he's touring with Motley Crue. Do you know what I mean? Like, guys, you don't understand what happens on the road stays on the road. Like, yeah, we had one beer and some naan bread. Like, it's ridiculous.
But you know there's a difference between a social event organised as a social event and people having a snack at work, right?
There's no difference.
They had a chicken korma. That's like the blandest curry. It's barely a curry.
Where do you draw the line between, like...
Well, if they'd had a lamb biryani, that would have been reckless.
I think as soon as there's beer and poppadoms, that's a slightly fun time. And also the way Keir was leaning, I don't know if you saw the photo, but he was photographed through a window and he was leaning and he had one leg up against the wall, like he's George Michael in the Faith video.
Both well challenged, but ultimately it's up to me to decide who had the best spin, and I think the most compelling defence was the blue team.
Finally.
USA.
So at the end of that round,
years.
both teams are underperforming, if I'm honest, so I'm going to have a pep talk with them during the ads. We'll be back after this.
I'm Mark Dolan. Join me at 11 on GBNews for Headliners, in which I'll be joined by two of the UK's top comedians discussing tomorrow's papers. If it's an important story, we'll cover it, but we'll have some fun along the way. Headliners, the late night paper review that won't send you to sleep like the others will. 7 nights a week at 11 p.m. on GB News.
Welcome back to Ministry of Offence. We're still here with Leo Kirst, Nick Dixon, Diane Spencer and Andrew Doyle. And it's time for our next round, Anti-Social Media. Yes, this is Anti-Social Media, in which we look at online reactions to various world events and then ask our teams to guess who said what about whom. The teams will need to match each post to an event or the celebrity who said it. Think of it as social media snap. OK, Diane and Andrew, over to you. Yours are all written about someone. Here are your tweets. Can you guess who sparked this Twitter storm? Blank. The trending in the United Kingdom Twitter notification should be immediately followed by, don't worry, he's fine, to prevent any more panic.
Oh.
Any early guesses?
Yeah, because if you see someone trending on Twitter, they've either died or made a massive fool of themselves.
Oh, wonderful.
They should have like a little symbol, like a skull and crossbones. If it's someone... No, you know what I mean? So then you know, you don't get worried.
We should also have one for has not been convicted as a paedophile. Children's entertainers were falling like pins a few years ago. And you never knew if it was, especially, they're all in their 80s as well. You never knew. Rolf Harris pops up, starts trending. You don't know if he's died, if he's been done for sex offending, if he's released a Christmas single.
Here's your next one then. I simply think that blank should not be allowed to trend on Twitter without confirmation that he is safe and fine and happy, because that man is precious cargo and I worry about him.
Oh.
Maybe Zelensky.
So, OK, it could be Zelensky. I mean, clearly, precious cargo, like I'm thinking national treasure. I wonder if it's something like Sir David Attenborough.
Chesney Hawkes. Because I don't know what I would do if he went.
Sorry to ruin it, but I actually know this one. It's Nick Dixon. Everyone on Twitter loves me and wants to know that I'm safe.
And you do look like you're in poor health. And that's a Scotsman saying that.
How dare you?
OK, here's your next one. Whenever I see blank trending, my immediate thought is mango vape juice.
Anyone who vapes mango flavour deserves to die. Because it's not... It's the equivalent of... It's a substitute for a cigarette. It's not fruit. You don't smoke a pineapple. I just think it's an abomination.
I don't mind the vapours because sort of like when people were smoking and you got hit in the cloud with a face of ash, it was just a bit horrible. But now at least you sort of wander through this bubblegum flavoured cloud. It's not so bad. Do you not think?
No.
You prefer the ash?
I actually do. I mean, in all seriousness, I do, because my grandmother used to chain smoke around me as a baby, and I really enjoy it. I do. I think it's really comforting. It takes me back to better times.
So it's hashtag American Dad, though, and hashtag...
What's Overwatch? What is Overwatch?
Overwatch is actually pornography in the House of Commons.
Well, I can give you your final one. Blank is trending because of a potential film role. Don't panic. Blank is fine and still with us.
So it's an actor.
Yeah.
So it's an old male actor who's not dead.
Well, I can give you some multiple choices. See if this helps. Michael Palin, Morgan Freeman, Jack Nicholson and Patrick Stewart.
Oh.
There's no way Jack Nicholson would smoke a mango. It would be a threat to his masculinity. He's too alpha male for that.
Yeah. Like your nan.
He is like that. Morgan Freeman and Michael Palin are too dignified.
Do you know what? Morgan Freeman and Patrick Stewart both would have been potentially involved in American Dad as well.
Patrick Stewart is in American Dad.
Yeah?
He plays the head of the FBI, the equivalent of the FBI.
Does?
Yes, so it's
Patrick Stewart, please.
You going with Patrick Stewart is the correct answer.
Yes! Yeah.
Sir Patrick has been divorced twice. It was at the start of his involvement in Star Trek, so I think it's fair to assume he just needed more space. Leo and Nick, here are your posts, all about someone or something being discussed on social media. Here are your tweets. Let's take a look at these. I've regularly eaten in this pub. The blank always looked tasty, but I avoided it because of the misogyny of the name. Now it's blank. I can't wait to order one. I'm sure it'll be even tastier and make me feel better about myself and the world.
Actually, I hate to cheat, but I know this one verbatim. It's the wife-beater pie always looked tasty. But I avoided it because of the misogyny of the name. Now it's on discount. I can't wait to order one. So yeah, I think that's correct.
Goes great with a can of Stella. I think this is some sort of food stuff that's served in a pub that's got a misogynist name. Is it coq au vin?
And what are they calling it now?
Dick in a transit.
Let's see if your next one helps. Woke ideology is ruining everything. I don't know what a blank is, but renaming it blank just sounds ridiculous. Are they going to rename those sewage access blank? Now blank is cancelled.
So again, this is still, it's a gendered thing. So they're obviously talking about manholes, which have been renamed. Actually, they haven't been renamed person holes, because there's one thing that the feminist movement has refused to do is try and get more women into sewage roles. They're always going after the nice jobs. Never like, let's have 50-50 equal parity in low-paid jobs where we're up to our knees in sewage.
Exactly.
No, it's always breaking the glass ceiling, never the turd floor.
Exactly. I want to see more women in sewage. That's my position.
Yeah, that's one of my most popular searches on Pornhub.
Well, let's see if the next tweet helps. The blank blank story is an almost perfect illustration of the inanity of anti-woke posturing. People genuinely offended by the nomenclature of a blank claim to be outraged by the idea of people being outraged by the nomenclature of a blank.
Yeah,
he sort of undermined his argument there by ending that with an exclamation mark, revealing that he's offended.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. Yeah, I mean, he's used nomenclature twice. It's not like James O'Brien to be pretentious, is it?
Could it be a type of biscuit? Because I know there's a type of biscuit called Finger Marie. And if you go into a Weatherspoons and say, I want a Finger Marie, you don't always get a biscuit.
Well, let's give you your final one. The world is off its rocker, and quite frankly, I'm sick of it.
Ah, so it's not a pudding.
I don't want to say this on a family show. Is it pork faggots? That's a real thing. If anybody thinks I'm being homophobic, I am. But I'm also describing...
Pork faggots is only homophobic if pork is a verb.
So it's a thing. It's like a sort of round sausage that's in sweet gravy. That's what Mr. Brain's pork faggots. I buy them sometimes just for the box. I just laugh at the box while I'm eating this disgusting sweet sausage.
I can give you a multiple
I know.
choice.
I've got it. It's plough persons or ploughmans. The ploughman was changed to plough person because the left were offended by a manly dish.
Is the correct answer.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep, it was the super sexy meal, the ploughman's lunch. That one pub renamed to a plough persons. I'm not that fussed myself, man, woman, as long as they can plough me. And the winner of that round is the blue team.
Slow clap.
And it's time for our next round, Lost in Translation. Now, in this round, we give the team some videos to watch, and they have to tell us what on earth is going on. These videos are from across the world and could be ads, public information films, or good old-fashioned propaganda. It's up to our teams to figure out what they're all about. So, fingers on buzzers. Here's your first one. Can you figure out what's happening here?
A Siberian Husky.
Yes.
And you're here with them.
Well...
Sorry, there's no place for y'all.
Yeah, I think it's a Russian propaganda film because Siberian Huskies have sided with Ukraine in the war, and so like no more Siberian Huskies, get out.
I think that it's an advert about consent because the dogs met in the park and the dogs sniffed each other's bums, and now he's turned up at this woman's house and she's like, I recognise the dog. Just because our dogs sniffed each other's bums, it doesn't mean that you can now sniff mine.
I'd like to hear more from Diane. What she does when she goes on dates. Could it be the new Crufts selection process? You just turn up at the Crufts woman's house and she looks at your dog, and if it's inbred enough, like if it looks like it could actually be in the royal family, then it can be in Crufts.
So this is Crufts working from home?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
I think it's a governmental video about the evils of discrimination.
Of dogs?
But they're using the dogs allegorically to represent people.
Well, we can see what the result is.
He's dangerous. He's Russian.
What the hell? Emma, back! Emma!
That's right, it's a Russian propaganda film using dogs to illustrate that not all Russians should be cancelled because of the war in Ukraine. I may be wrong, but I think the message here is that the invasion of Ukraine thing would have happened if Putin had his infected glands around his anus drained. OK, moving on to the next video. Can you work out what's going on here?
من أنت؟ ومن أين جئت؟
أنا نحول.
ومن نحول؟
أنا نحول ابن عم فرفور.
وماذا تريد؟
أريد أن أواصل مشوار ابن عمي فرفور.
وكيف تريد أن تواصل؟
أريد أن أواصل. أريد أن أكون في كل حلقة معكم في برنامج رواد الغد كما كان فرفور يفعل. أريد أن أستمر على نهج فرفور.
Wow.
Wow.
Meth is a hell of a drug.
It's suicide prevention for bees. That is a suicidal bee. It's tried to hang itself. She's trying to talk it down. Bees are notoriously depressive because they sting you once and they die.
So they just die because they can't handle the guilt.
That's what it is. Bees are Catholic.
Is this sort of saying what happens to children in Iran if they don't beehive?
Used to do puns for a living.
That was appalling.
Oh, wow. I'm assuming it's some kind of children's show, but I don't know who this Farfour is, or is it some sort
It's his cousin. Did you not watch? It's very clear, actually. I don't even know why we're discussing it. A giant bee called Nahul wants to follow in the footsteps of his cousin Farfour, and that's the whole story.
I think the bee really... I wish the bee's balls would drop, because that voice is terrible. No idea what this is. It's
Joe
nuts.
Pasquale of bees.
Well, let's take a look.
Nahul, the bee, started appearing on screen 2 weeks ago after his controversial predecessor Farfour was taken off air. Farfour, who bore an uncanny resemblance to Mickey Mouse, had stirred controversy for preaching armed resistance against the Israeli occupation. But in what was to be his final episode, Farfour was killed off by an Israeli character.
Yep. Unbelievably, this is a Gazan propaganda kids show. Those Disney copyright lawyers don't mess about, do they? And the team who gets some points after that, it's the blue team.
Yeah, I got that right.
Now it's time for our final round, the quickfire Q&A. In our final round, I'll be asking rapid-fire questions based on all the news of this week. Our teams will have to buzz in and be the fastest to answer to gain the points. Fingers on buzzers. Question 1. Which Spice Girl has recently been awarded an MBE?
The one who can't sing.
Scary Spice!
It was Mel B. Researchers have found that severe COVID can do what to your brain?
Make you vote Labour.
Dispel COVID conspiracies.
But it's not the right answer.
It's age you by something like 10 years and lower your IQ.
So make you Scottish?
Essentially. I didn't like to say it.
It's age you by 20 years and lower your IQ by 10 points.
Okay.
Can't give you that answer.
You're not giving me that. Outrageous.
Why did students at Eton stage a protest last week?
Yeah.
Ran out of biscuits.
A maid looked one of the students directly in the eye.
They have a hunting club and they stop them hunting.
Yes, the fears over the future of the hunting society. Who said he isn't supportive of Wimbledon's plan to ban all Russian and Belarusian players this year?
Vladimir Putin.
I guess so, isn't it?
Andy Murray.
Is the correct answer. Why did China ban Spider-Man No Way Home?
Yeah, Spider-Man did a long denunciation of their treatment of the Uyghur Muslims.
It's because it's a sequel and China has a one-spider policy.
It's because Sony Pictures reportedly rejected the Chinese government's demand to remove scenes featuring the Statue of Liberty. By early 2030s, 37% of British men and women are expected to be what?
8 years older.
Should be the right answer.
Finally.
It's It's not the correct answer. It's obese, up from 28% now. Who has declared they're out of touch after being accused of inappropriate behaviour?
Every single MP.
Yeah. Is it Bill Murray?
It is Bill Murray,
yeah.
after an altercation with a colleague causing the filming to be suspended on being mortal. The world's longest direct flight is being launched in 2025. It'll take 20 hours. Where does it go from and to?
Yeah, it's from London to St Albans on a bank holiday. Oh, this is my round.
It's London to Sydney, I think.
Is the correct answer. Yes. And that's the end of the quickfire round. And that means that, sadly, we've also reached the end of the show. Congratulations to our winning team, the Blue Team.
Oh, we won. Yes. Come on. In your face.
Yeah. 4 more years.
To the winners, your prize is a year's subscription to Barely Legal Tractor magazine.
Nice.
One of them has not had an MOT in 6 years. But you losers needn't leave empty-handed. As a tribute to Neil Parish, we're dropping our no fiddling with yourself at work rule. Thanks to our team captains, Leo Kearse and Diane Spencer. And to our guests this week, Nick Dixon and Andrew Doyle. I've been your host, Stephen Allen, and we'll be back at the same time next week. See you then.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows, and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.